that I created in tracking is first teach your dog how to track before you take the tracking. The most problem that everybody has is that they actually take their dog tracking to teach them how to track. The problem with that is that there's a lot of rules and a lot of different behaviors within tracking itself as the overall whole of tracking. So it's good to break it up and actually teach your dog all the different behaviors, the rights, the wrongs, making sure they understand what their job is completely before they go tracking. And so the process of the beginning stage is first teach your dog scent discrimination. That means teach your dog the job that's at hand for them. That means the scent that they're actually supposed to identify is what you want to create the foundation with. And the only way to really create scent discrimination is separate the two. Meaning the scent that they're supposed to be on and the scent they're not supposed to be on. So you have to make a very clear analogy of when you're on this scent, positive things happen.
Welcome to the Fast Track video series. This video features world champion dog trainer Fabian Robinson's unique tracking foundation of teaching dogs skills they will utilize throughout their tracking career. Fabian's motto is, teach your dog how to track before you take him tracking. This program is designed for puppies and dogs of all ages. Tracking enthusiasts and top competitors from all over the world seek out Fabian's help. He makes it simple and fast. Most dogs are truly tracking within 3 days of starting this system when followed with a good understanding of the dog in front of you and proper handling. This program is meant to move quickly to teach your dog how and what to track. Here is Fabian explaining some of his theory at a recent seminar. Be sure to watch the end to see my puppy Sai from start to finish at 7 months old.
Teaching your dog how to track before you actually take them tracking. Like I said, most people take their dogs tracking and teach them how to track. We first teach them how to track, then take them tracking. That means we teach them their jobs first. So the jobs we teach them, I'm going to talk a little bit about the skills, okay? The skills that the dogs have to learn is, number one, how to track direct source. Most dogs out there track overall source, and when the dog learns to track overall source, things like wind and different scents around the source that was walked on affect the dog's ability to track direct source. Okay, so our goal is, the foundation work is to teach the dog how to track direct source, and when they learn how to track direct source, okay, they're more likely to be very successful as consistently tracking dogs. And direct source means that the actual footstep that you step into is the source, not around it. The actual footstep that you step into. That's the only thing that doesn't move. It doesn't matter how much wind there is that day or what's around that situation or around that source. That when I step in this area here and I make that imprint and destroy and crush the vegetation underneath my foot, that's a complete scent that never moves. The only way that can move out of place is for someone to dig it out of the ground. Okay, that's direct source. All right, so that's why we want to teach the dogs to track direct source. That's and the more consistent they are of tracking direct source, the better and more successful they're going to be.
In tracking, food is used as a manipulative tool to get the dog to put their nose on the ground initially. We have learned that some young puppies have trouble eating food off the ground when they first start, so we developed footstep bowls to get them used to the idea. These bowls are basically one footprint baited with food that will get extended into longer lines. Most likely you will only need to do one session before the puppy learns to go forward.
And depending on the process, is we start out with footstep bowls, and then we expand the bowls into lines. The reason is because a lot of times, what I realize with very young puppies that are a little unsure of what they're supposed to do because they're not used to eating something off the ground. Okay, so when they're not used to eating something off the ground, it's very hard for them to establish and putting their nose on the ground. You always have to, because they're so used to eating out of a bowl or out of your hand. Okay, so the footstep bowls are going to be something like this. So we just make a little trip here, and that's just a footstep bowl. Okay, so we're going to bring the puppy and just kind of have some food right in this bowl here.
Make a series of 6 to 8 footstep bowls with your flag at the toe. Scruff the earth really well so you can see your footstep. Place 4 to 5 pieces of food in a line in the bowl. Place each footstep at least 3 foot apart in a straight or diagonal line.
Okay, so here we have a young dog, first time tracking. You can see he's a little frantic here, but the idea here is just to get him to put his nose down on the ground right now. And so that's what we're concentrating on. So we're starting out with footstep bowls, and we're doing reps of this just to get the puppy and the idea of just putting his nose down on the floor to get food. Right now, the puppy just is realizing that when I put my nose down in these specific areas, I can get something for it. So right now, that's what we're concentrating on. Now you can see the puppy is getting more interested in putting its nose down by itself now, without me having to throw food down there to get something. And then you can see now we're actually making those footstep bowls longer. So we want them to learn first, once they get their nose down on the ground and get consistent with that behavior. Now we want to ask them to follow that line a little bit. So you see the line's a little bit longer now, and he's following the food now. Okay. So this is the second step. So the first step was to get the puppy to put its nose on the ground. The second step was to have them actually follow the food on the ground. So it's following in a straight line now. The reason why we use these straight lines is because it's easier for them to follow a straight line, because the goal here is to just get them to move forward. Because as soon as we get them to move forward, then we can start teaching them the concept of what we want them to learn, which is scent discrimination.
The reason we start with straight lines is to get the dog to the end of source as fast as possible. It is easier for the dog to eat food off a straight line rather than footsteps when they are first learning. The side-to-side motion is harder for a dog to do before they understand how to move forward. You will start by dragging lines on the ground about 3 to 4 feet long. Make sure you can see your line, especially the end. If your conditions are not this lush, mark the end of your line with chalk. Place your flag about 1 foot above your start so that you have a trail of food past the flag. The flag is for us to know where our track is, not to cue the dog. Lay 6 to 8 lines for your first session. We are looking to do as many reps as possible. Make sure the start of each line is at least 3 feet away from the end of the last line. You want the opportunity to restart your dog at each line. Bait your lines with a high-value food that you can see about 2 to 3 inches apart. The only thing that matters here is getting to the end of source to teach the dog scent discrimination. What you are looking for is the dog to eat the food going forward to the end of your line where the last piece of food is. We call this end of source, source being the disturbed earth and the food at this point. Once he gets the last piece of food, he will try to continue forward. You will let him overshoot the end by about 1/4 of a body length. He already knows it smells different. You will put a pile of food down where the last piece was and guide him back to the reward. Here is where he learns scent discrimination. He left sourced, realized it was different. He came back to source with your guidance, which rewarded him. This is also where he will learn his backup skill, which he will use later on to problem solve losing a turn. This is not tracking yet. This is the foundation in which we teach all of the behaviors of tracking before you take them tracking. It is making sure the dog understands what source is and what source you want them to identify, which is the crushed vegetation or disturbance of earth.
So here I'm getting the puppy feeling a little bit of drive, showing them where the food is going. At this point, the dogs have no rhyme or reason why they're doing what they're doing. That's why there's so many reps of this in the beginning stages. And the key here is the end here when he overshoots it.
Let him see you toss a piece of food down to help him get started. We are starting to see more drive here as we do more reps. This is excellent. We will use this want to drive to keep tracking fun, so when the have to is put into place later on, it doesn't squash his want to. Once you have some enthusiasm to go forward, put the right leash under the elbow for the next lines. The left leash is free, so you can use it as guidance or to pop him forward. Each line is a separate exercise. When you get to the end and the puppy overshoots, backs up, and gets his reward, pick him up and move to the next exercise and set back up. If it is 6 flags, it's 6 starts, etc.
So now we see that we've got the puppy's interest in wanting to drag me to it. So now we're going to start putting a little bit of control there. As you see him looking down, I'm going to pop him forward. Now I'm not going to really need to put food down there for him anymore, because he already knows there's something there for him. Now he's starting to pick up every piece now, and he comes back and he gets rewarded. And I take him to the next one. Okay, like I said, now I bring him over here, and as he's pulling me forward, I pop that line, letting him go. You want to try to get away with help as much as possible, as soon as possible, and make it about him understanding his job. And I'm almost encouraging him to go over for that last piece, and I almost encourage him to go over so he realizes that the scent has changed, and he comes back to it. So he's not even leaving the scent anymore, he's staying right on it. And that's the whole goal of this. So again, we bring him up there, and he's going forward, and I pop, and that motion that he's giving me to go forward, I'm going to pop that motion to go forward. So he doesn't see it as a correction, but it later on is going to be used as that. So you see how he's backing up, smelling the source? So I'm going to leave him here for a minute now and let him make some decisions. And you see how he came back to it, and I rewarded that. So I'm going to leave him here again. He's going to go over and come back. As soon as he puts his nose back in it, it's rewarded. And I'm going to keep rewarding this. The last one, when I see this behavior, I'm going to keep rewarding just this last one, that he stays in it just like he's doing it, and that's going to keep rewarding him. That scent is going to keep rewarding. He keeps his nose in it, just like that, and he gets rewarded again. So that keeps telling him that there's great things coming from this smell. He doesn't ever have to leave it. Now he's submitting to the scent, which is the beginning steps of him really understanding that there's nowhere else to go, and this scent has all the value. You see how he wants to stay on it? That's what you're looking for, but then you pull him off of it and say it's over for the next time.
We hope you enjoyed our first Fast Track video. Please feel free to contact us for phone, video consultation, virtual coaching, or seminars. Our goal is to get you out there tracking as soon as possible. This is a very fast-moving system when done correctly. Our next episode will feature the next steps, which are turns and articles. The objective is to teach your puppy or dog all of the necessary tracking behaviors before you take them tracking. Each video will demonstrate different skills that your dog will need throughout his tracking career.